Hi, everyone. This is Laura Turiano again. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about how the subconscious mind drives our lives. Now, there's two different mental states that we use most of the time. And one is the conscious mind, which is the mind that we use to solve problems and to just to run our daily lives. And we have the subconscious mind, which we're really not aware of. And we think that our conscious mind pretty much rules the roost, and we don't really worry too much about the subconscious mind. But what we don't know is that the subconscious mind is really the driver in our lives, and it is responsible for 95% of what goes on. And so it is a very significant part. And the conscious mind, which is what we try to figure everything out with, only has 5% influence in our lives. And so that explains why we have a lot of trouble with doing conventional therapy, because when we're trying to solve different kinds of problems or trying to work out issues, we are really only working with 5% of our capacity. And so that can be why sometimes you feel like you go to a session or you spend time trying to change in your life, but no matter what you do, you just kind of always come back to the same place. And that is because you haven't looked at the programming. The programming that is going on in your subconscious mind is the king. Just like in your computer, you can try to change a lot of things in your computer, and they might change for a little while. But if you don't change the overall programming, then things don't change. And so, how does the subconscious mind get programmed? Well, there are three different brain states that we are most often in our lives. And the brain state we live in during the day when we're consciously going about our day is called the beta brainwave pattern. And sometimes people who are like type A personalities can be in high beta. That's where they're just really focused and going, and the hamster wheels are turning really fast. And then we have low beta, which is the same brain state. Then underneath that is alpha brain state. And that is the brain state that we are in when we feel much calmer, when we're more suggestible. That's the brain state we're in right before we fall asleep in the evening. So it's kind of like that calming down brain state. And then the third one where our subconscious lives is the theta brain state. And that is kind of where we aren't conscious of what we are doing, but we're not deep asleep. Because when you're deep asleep, you're in delta, where you're just not really taking anything in. But the theta brain state is the sweet spot. And what happens is from age 0 to 7, in a child, they are in a constant theta brain state. So, in other words, they are completely suggestible, and everything that goes on in your life from the age of 0 to 7 programs you for the rest of your life. And if you aren't aware of what that programming is, then it can really wreak havoc on you, because the things that happen to us kind of decide who we are. And then from ages 7 to puberty, we're in the alpha brain state wave. And what happens there is we're also still very suggestible. So, that again is a place where we want to look for clues as to why we get stuck and we have blocks in our lives. And that's where we can really solve problems. And so it's very important to find out what is our programming. And we do that by going back into those times in our lives and those old um, things that happened to us as children that sort of paved the groundwork for how we feel about ourselves as human beings. So if we grew up and our parents were really busy and they didn't have time for us, we might make a decision about ourselves that we are not valuable, that we are unimportant, that we aren't lovable. If we were abused as children, we might grow up believing that we were bad or wrong, because a child can't understand the world from an adult's perspective. We don't get that beta perspective until we reach puberty. So if you haven't gone back and cleared that old programming, then it still can run your life. So if you're trying to be successful, but you feel completely unworthy back in your subconscious, then those two things just don't go together. And so you will continue to sabotage yourself because of these old beliefs. So that is how the subconscious mind drives our lives. And it's really important to understand these things so that we can move forward in our lives and let those old beliefs go. Thank you.